Hello everyone. Today I am in Kempton, Pennsylvania at the WKNS Railroad in a former Reading combine car. This combine car, number 408, was built in 1923 by the Harlan and Hollingsworth Company. I think I said that right. And it's one of the best preserved, I think, examples of a Reading combine car. They were called combine or combination cars because you had a section like this, which you could put freight, mail, baggage, whatever you needed in this part. Had the big doors for freight or baggage, mail. Well, they surely put mail in combine cars, but probably did. They didn't have pianos, ours does though. Stove. Then you have down here, you have a passenger section for the passengers. That's what's called a combine car. Again, it was built in 1923 by the Harlan Hollingsworth Company. I'm probably saying that wrong. And it went from the Reading, which this is a former Reading line, went from the Reading, and right after the Reading Iron Horse Rambles came to Kempton, and it's been here ever since. So this coach came right from the Reading, right to Kempton. Yes, this was one of two combine cars that were used on the Iron Horse Rambles. So if you look at old pictures, you'll probably see 408 right behind one of the T1s. This was one of the two combine cars. And it was actually used in other Rambles in the 1950s. But the earlier Reading Company Iron Horse Rambles weren't quite as famous as the later ones, because from 59 to 64, I think, early 64, those Rambles were pretty well known because steam engines were basically retired. They had the 4 T1s they kept aside to do it. So it was a much different time, much more special Rambles in the early days when steam was your everyday occurrence. So this is 408 combine, and it's pretty much hasn't really been restored, just maintained and fixed as needed. So this is pretty much what it would have looked like back in the day. Like I said, again, this was retired, came on its own. Reading Company dropped it off. WKNS started here 1963, and up until I think 70, 71, that end of the line, the southern end, the Reading Company still used it, so it came up into Kempton. And then they severed the line about a mile past where I'm standing that way. It's about 3 miles that way, which was already severed, part that went to the other end. So pretty much, this came here on its own and has only ever known two owners, the Reading Company and Kempton. And again, it's a survivor of the Iron Horse Rambles. And if you look it up, look up videos, and you see a combine in there. They had two of them, as far as I know. And they only used two different combine cars in the Rambles, and this was one of them. This is Coach 408. Well, Coach Combine, whatever. Spitting must have been a big issue back in those days on old train equipment. You see a whole lot of that stuff. No spitting. No spitting. Spitting prohibited. I guess these doors are locked. Yeah. But, yeah, this is, like I said, pretty much untouched. And along with this, we also have two Reading coaches, along with our Lackawanna coach and our open car and our two cabooses. But those two coaches down there, also Reading coaches, and they're also Iron Horse Ramble survivors, or they were on the Iron Horse Rambles as well as this was. So we try to maintain this as it looked back in the day. So I'm just going to go out, do a little outside view of it. Figured while I was here, I would just show this off to all the Iron Horse Ramble fans out there. That's the Lackawanna coach. Combine 408. Thanks everybody for watching.